From The Independent, oh boy, you love it. They say stock market closes week in bloodbath as Trump's tariffs cause historic 2-day drop and wipe out $6 trillion. I love this so much because the first thing I'm going to say is there are a lot of people on the right that are saying things like, don't worry. These are luxuries. We can make it through. The country is more important. And it's like, guys, come on. I get it. But it doesn't sound honest. I'm just saying, it doesn't sound honest. The left is apoplectic. They're screaming this is the worst thing in the world. But like, these are the people that hate the stock market in the first place and rag on investments.
And love to tax you.
Yeah, and they call for wealth taxes. I'm like, you don't actually care about this.
And to be honest with you, the fact that it's negative headlines for Trump, they love it. I'm watching a lot of the Democrat left-leaning pundits, the partisans and stuff, and they're saying, "Oh, this is so bad, it's so terrible," but they're tweeting every 15 minutes. This is the best day of this is the best week of their life, because leading up to this, Donald Trump had been doing things that the American people wanted. He'd had great polling, and the Democrats had been in disarray. So this is literally what James Carville was saying about a month ago, saying, wait for the Republicans to mess up, just keep your powder dry, hold on, and the Republicans will mess up, and then you can jump, because they have nothing to actually offer. The whole Democrat establishment is going through a restructuring. They're in a civil war, deciding whether they want to be woke or they want to be, try to bring back blue dog Democrats. So this is the best thing that they've had this year.
Yeah. How old are you?
25.
You're 25. Do you care about stock portfolios?
Listen, I don't have any money in the stock market. So sorry, I just don't. And this is the thing about these tariffs is, as a young person, I'm looking at it long term. You're saying it's going to bring industry back to America. I'm like, this is great. Like, this is more opportunity long term for me. It sucks me if you're an older person, you have your savings, but.
Well, that's what it was, right? It was a bunch of boomers saying like, oh my gosh, look at the stock market. And all the millennials are like, what stock market?
Yeah.
I just want to own a home.
Millennials, Gen Z are like,
this is foreign to them. Like, they don't have money in the stock market.
This is exactly
unless it's AMC or
GameStop.
Yeah,
the meme stocks. This is, again, I mentioned this the other day. That was one of the things that the guy Chamath from the All In podcast was saying. He's like, this for young people, for the Gen Z and stuff, they don't have assets. They don't own things, and they're really kind of struggling right now. So these kind of events, or whatever you want to call it, it doesn't affect most Americans. Only a small, not small, but only a certain percentage of Americans have money in the stock market. And sure, if you're living on a fixed income, then it matters. But young people who are Trump's biggest supporters right now, they kind of don't care, if I understand correctly.
It's like the meme that says like me being 5 years old in 2008 rather than buying a house.
Yeah.
When the market crashed last time.
I grew up in a Walmart town. You guys know what like a Walmart town is?
Yep.
Like, it's just like these little tiny towns where it's the only thing that's there is a Walmart. And you kind of like learn about like the economics of that, and it's, you think you're buying into your community, but that money just goes straight up to these multinational corporations. All the products are made in China.
Yep.
We know instinctively, young people, that the system's broken. So if there's going to be a little bit of heartache now, and there's going to be a long-term payoff, I just think it's a no-brainer for somebody who's under 30.
Yeah, I feel like all of these young, like these millennial liberals who are on X right now screaming the market, Trump's ruining everything. I'm like, you guys don't have portfolios. Shut up.
Well, also, they do this every time, right? Whenever there's any type of bump in the stock market, when it's good, it doesn't matter. When it's bad, they use it as some type of evidence of something that they don't care about to begin with. And I think you're right more than anything is that they don't the left right now doesn't have a platform. They don't have any front runners to run in 2028. They're basically going off what they've been going off since 2016, which is just, what can we do to show you that Trump is bad, rather than coming up like right now would be a great time for a really, really solid middle of the road candidate to come out for them. Somebody who can speak well, somebody who can, I know it sounds like a fairy tale.
That's a good one.
I know, but I'm saying that doing something like that right now would be a fantastic idea, but they don't have anyone like that. And there's too much internal friction within the party for letting somebody that moderate come out as a forerunner anyways. It wouldn't work.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of personalities that it's interesting. There's financial pro-Trump personalities losing their minds. Mm-hmm. So there were a lot of these like Finn bros who were not pro-Trump until like a couple of years ago. Now they're all on board with Trump, and they're screaming like, like my portfolio, Trump, what have you done? And I'm just laughing. I'm like, yeah, well, dude, come on. But like the reality is a lot of these guys are buying right now. They know that it's going to go down. It's going to go back up, especially if Trump is using this as a negotiating tactic or whatever he's doing. It's going to return. And then, but I'm seeing a lot of like these diehard Trump people who are saying things like, who cares about 401k? I don't care about this. And I'm like, the only critique I have is that when people were claiming that when Trump got in, it was going to be to the moon, and are now claiming it doesn't matter at all. Yeah. I'm like, you don't sound honest. People, you're like, this is bad for trying to win more people over. Yeah. I have no problem saying to a regular American who's going like, hey, I got a retirement account. And I'm saying like, well, yeah, this is not good. The market should not dip like this. We wiped a year off of the Dow Jones. So I know a lot of people are upset, especially people who bought in 6 months ago. They're losing. And so what you want to say is, here's what we're hoping is going to happen. I'm skeptical on the global blanket tariffs, but I lean towards being in favor of tariffs in general. So I'm willing to see where this goes, and I'm also an adult who can recognize that if Trump makes mistakes, we're going to own up to that because that's the reality of it.
The people that are rightly upset are the people that are on fixed incomes, older people that rely on the stock market for their monthly. Pay their bills and stuff like that. And those people disproportionately are the massive voting bloc because older people are the ones that are reliable voters. So this really could, if it doesn't get straightened out before, if we do go into a recession that drags into next year or longer, this could really have a bad effect on the midterms. And that means that Trump is likely to have to fight with more impeachment stuff. Yeah. Because that's something that the Democrats are definitely going to do. If they take the House, they're going to draw up articles of impeachment, and then it'll be just the same things that we dealt with the first over the first Trump administration, and that would be horrible for the country because that means nothing gets fixed, nothing gets done, and any good stuff that may have happened because of Doge gets washed away, and you won't even talk about it. I
can give you guys the easiest poll ever done on this issue and tell you outright, no one cares about the market. And what I mean by no one is obviously there are going to be people in media and influence who do, but there's actually only one poll that really matters, and it's how many people are going to watch this show right now. Now, I'm not saying literally everybody in the world watches the show. I'm saying we can actually track. Having done this show now going on 5 years, we're entering year 5. I know when we choose a lead story for the night, we're trying to figure out what is the most impactful story, what matters most to people. Mm-hmm. I know when we do stock market stories, nobody clicks on them.
Yeah.
And so when the media comes out and they're like, this is the apocalypse, I'll tell you guys this. When we're leading off with the stock market went down on Timcast IRL, it means nothing else happened. Because I know that the average person does not care. Don't get me wrong, there are people who care, and they're allowed to care because people have retirement funds and all that stuff. But I'm telling you, if Donald Trump drove a Tesla around a racetrack today, that would get way more views from the average person, way more of concern to them than whether or not the stock market moved. I understand it's going to have effect on pensions, but the average person's not going to see that. Yeah. And so, especially now, as millennials and Gen Z are becoming the dominant force as the audience in media, because older folks are moving on, they're watching less, they're getting pharmaceutical ads on Fox News instead. Yeah. We are going to be able to see how much this stuff really matters to them. And I got to be honest, Trump probably knows this move isn't going to matter as much because he's targeting the younger generation. If he wants his movement to succeed, here's the wild thing that people do not consider, which is surprising. Obviously, consultants do and politicians to a certain extent do, but you're 25. Mm-hmm. That means when Trump descended the escalator, you were 10 years or 15 years old.
15, yeah.
So you probably weren't paying attention at all.
I was, because my dad was in politics, but most of my friends, nobody was paying attention.
Exactly. And now here you are voting.
Yeah.
And your friends are voting. And so 4 years from now, what Trump is looking at is who's 17 years old right now? What future are they looking at? I want them to vote for me. Not just 17-year-olds, but it's also about not when you are legally allowed to vote, but when you become an active voter. So we know that younger 18 to 29 tends not to vote.
Yeah.
So Trump might be looking at 27-year-olds and saying, what's bugging them? Because they're going to be 30 in the next election cycle, and I want their votes for our party or whatever that might be. Stock drop-off, I got to tell you, like you mentioned, nobody under 30 gives it.
Well, yeah, the people who are talking about it on X are having like academic debates about the efficacy of tariffs all over the world, as opposed to the fact that they've been tariffing the United States for years. And it's like, that's not a conversation that the average everyday person is having. That's the type of thing that happens when you're on political X and that's all you think about.
This is what's really cool about what Trump has done with the Republican Party in general. It's like the party lines don't mean anything anymore, especially if you're young. Like I saw on X, I didn't even know because I was a newborn when it happened. But in 1989, there were these protests in Seattle against the World Trade Organization.
Yep.
They're bringing in China, and I mean, it's incredible just to see like, oh, now Republicans and Donald Trump are going to be the ones to take the lead on protectionism in this country and actually, you know, promoting American industry. And then against the foreign wars too, because the economic side of this is totally linked to the same globalist ideology that got us involved in Iraq and Afghanistan and meddling in Syria. And young people are just not here for it. Like they don't want that anymore. And it's not a right and left issue. Like it's really become populism versus globalism.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that we've talked about a lot on this program. The way that the parties have shifted, the way that the liberals or the progressives, whatever you want to call them, the Democrats have become the party of the very, very poor, the people that are dependent on the government, and the very, very rich. And the MAGA movement really is made up of the working class, which used to be what you would think of as Democrats.
Yeah.
And, you know, they were people that were, you know, working people that would go to the Democrats. The rich it used to be the rich were the people that would be supporting the Republicans. They were, you know, backroom deals and all that
People have
stuff.
not grown up with that binary, like this is what Republicans mean, this is Democrats mean. I grew up in the Trump years. Like it's just the playing field is totally different.
The unions are very, very happy for two reasons. On the surface, we assume the unions are happy because for like the auto workers, for instance, this means that we've protected auto factories and the unions are happy because they need those jobs. There's another reason why the unions are very happy. This is going to force the creation of union jobs. So the guys running these big fat cat unions right now, they're going, so Trump does all these tariffs. You're going to see, even if it isn't as successful as Trump hopes it is, you're going to see people trying to hire in the United States because they're going to need to start manufacturing some of these resources here.
Yeah.
Those people got to join our union.
Look, far be it from me to say positive things about a union, but, you know, but it is true. The unions are really happy because, again, it's the working class people that are really getting the crap end of the stick. So
thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.